Episode 2 is called The Devil You Know, and it picks up right where episode 1 left off, and Jade had jumped into the crowd of zombies below. So she lands on some trash that softens her fall, but as soon as she lands down there, the horde of zombies below all turn and face her and start to run at her. But Baxter wants her alive, so he tells his men to keep her alive, and they shoot the zombies that are around her. But right after that, someone drives in with a truck to help Jade. She jumps on top of the truck, and Baxter's men are trying to stop them, but Jade is able to escape. Then we see young Billy and Jade, and they're dealing with the aftermath of the zombie dog attack. Alarms are blaring, but Billy seems to be okay. Jade helps her up, and then Albert shows up. He asks if the dog bit her. Jade said yes, and then he says, "Listen, you need to take her home right now before Umbrella sees." Jade argues with him for a little bit, but ultimately she leaves with Billy. And then right after they leave, Albert puts in a thumb drive that deletes all security footage. He then puts blood on himself to make it look like he was the only one there, and he sits down and waits for them to come. Then we see a man named Yen was the one who saved Jade. He then stops and tells her to run off because she has too much heat on him. She convinces him that's the wrong move at this time, but right at that point, they're overrun with zombies. Jade hops up on the top of the car, and Yen is killed. She then is able to hop back into the truck and keep moving. Then Umbrella shows up to the facility where Albert's at, and he says there's been an incident. Then we meet Evelyn Roth, who's very high up at Umbrella. She's even higher than Albert. She tells him that the hard drives have been wiped, which is what Albert did to protect his kids. Roth says she has taken what happened to Tijuana very seriously, which is why she's here right now. Then her wife Diana shows up and she introduces her to Albert, but they get into a fight and Diana runs off. Evelyn then looks right at Albert and says, "Say hi to the girls for me." This hints that she might have an idea of what really happened. Albert then arrives home and Billy asks him what bit her. He said it was a dog with a genetic disease and he was trying to help this dog. He then asks Billy and Jade why they were there in the first place, and they tell him the truth. Albert says they need to keep this all a secret because if anyone finds out what really happened, then Umbrella would make sure that they never see each other again. Jade then drives Yen's truck all the way to Dover, England, and she finds a community to hide in. She walks up to a woman's apartment named Melinda to talk with her. And we find out that Dover signed a contract with Umbrella for security. So they're all over the place. But this makes the community, including Melinda, feel more safe. Jade then sneaks off to video chat with Arjun. She catches him up to speed with everything that just happened over the past 2 episodes. He says to get to Calais, which is apparently a Brotherhood territory. But Arjun says, "Hey, listen, it's better than Umbrella." Then Jade asks to talk to her daughter B, but Arjun says she's at the ballet right now, so she can't talk to her right now. Then Jade goes back to talk to Melinda, but Jade is hearing this noise come out of the bathroom, like a banging sound. And Jade says, "What's that?" Melinda acts like she has no idea. But then Jade goes into the bathroom and we see it's Melinda's husband, Barry, who's a zombie, who is handcuffed to a chain. And Melinda's keeping him alive in there. Then we find out that Jade needs information that Barry has in his pocketbook in his pocket, but Melinda does not want her to kill him. She goes into the bathroom and she eventually finds what she's looking for, but Barry's hand gets ripped off and he breaks free. Barry then attacks Melinda, so Jade is forced to kill him. This really upsets Melinda, so she tells Jade to leave. Albert then goes to check on Billy, and we find out that she is sore and she is not looking good. He checks on her cut and gives her some meds. But while he's doing this, Jade is researching about the Tijuana incident, but it's restricted in the area, so she can't look anything up. Then she goes to check on Billy, and Billy thanks Jade for saving her life and then falls back asleep. Then we see Albert is running some tests, but he starts to seize up, so he has to inject himself in the neck, and then he levels back out. What's going on with that? Jade is then back at school and she hears a rumor that Simon can crack firewalls to get anime. So she thinks to herself, if he can do that, then maybe he can hack into the website so that Jade can read up on the Tijuana incident. Then Mr. Baxter gets to Melinda's house and Melinda tells him everything about her meeting with Jade. So then Baxter gets back on the road to go find her again. Then Albert asks Evelyn if she knows who hacked them, but she changes the conversation pretty quickly and she says to Albert that she wants Joy new and improved on the shelves within 12 months. He says that's impossible. And then he says, if this goes wrong, you are putting billions of people at risk, and I won't do it. And then she says to him, I'm the only reason that you're here. And then she brings up the injections that we saw him do earlier, saying, you used to inject once a week, but now I wonder if it's every day. Then we see Billy wake up and she gets sick immediately. And then she walks over towards her dog, trying to take her for a walk, but the dog freaks out, barking, and runs away. Then we see Jade is video chatting with someone who knows what's going on. This guy's name is Rubio. He's an investigative reporter, and he knows information on the Tijuana incident. He says last week a worker went on a rampage and killed 9 people. He was apparently bitten by an animal, which caused this. So then he says to Jade, if this is happening again, you need to tell me. So she starts to describe the bite and was really telling him a lot, but is interrupted by a teacher who calls out her last name. This causes Rubio to say, wait, but she hangs up. So Rubio knows who her father is. Then we see Billy chasing after the dog, and a man who's on the run stops the dog, but then notices that the dog is trying to attack Billy. So then he says, are you even this dog's owner? This dog clearly doesn't want to go with you. They argue back and forth for a little bit, but then the guy says, I'm going to take this dog to a shelter. You don't seem like the owner. So then Billy punches this man dead in the face very hard, seeming like she has extra power. Then we flip to current time, and Baxter is chasing Jade with drones. She's in a lot of trouble right now, and she's on the run for her life. Then we cut back to Billy, and she is bleeding from her mouth. But then we see in the test room, there's a rat who had been given the same infection that Billy has. And the rat is currently breaking out of its cage with tons of extra force. And this mirrors Billy's extra force when she punched that man. So we're starting to see what's really going on with her to end the episode.